Hello again, everybody. Witch Doctor here, looking at the markets, and I'm currently looking at the intra-week data, looking at the major currencies and comparing them to the dollar index futures. As you can see here, where we're looking at our 4-hour charts, you can see your 4-hour charts across the board. You got the dollar on the far left, and then you have the yen, the Swiss franc, and the Canadian across the top, euro, pound, and Australian dollar across the bottom. And the important thing here is to notice that really what we're doing is comparing last week's price action versus this week, and even though this week is not done, you can see that a lot of things are developing here. So looking at last week's data versus this week's in the dollar index futures, basically today's activity, we had the FOMC interest rate announcement come out, and of course they left the rates unchanged, which basically gave everybody the incentive to buy up everything in sight, and it's more of like a risk on appetite at this point. But you can see pretty much that the dollar index took out the low of last week, and we have made a lower high, and essentially the market is moving lower, and we've even put in a low here, 79.30, breaking through the 80 even level. And so now the question here going into tomorrow is whether or not we're going to be able to stay down below this key level up here at 80.10 and set up for next week, moving through these levels and continuing, making a charge for the low of the year down, which is not too far here. Looking at the Japanese yen, you can see that we broke again. We broke below last week's low here at 78, pushing the market lower, making a low of around 77.20. And again, you got the dollar index pushing down. You got the yen pushing down. Once we broke below last week's low, you can see this kickback here, this throwback to the reversal, the throwback to resistance, and then the continuation lower. Same thing here with the Swiss franc, breaking through last week's low right here. And essentially what we're doing is noticing the rhythm here, breaking below the Swiss franc, breaking below last week's low, pushing to I think it's the low 93.40s or so, trying to come up here to test the previous week's low, but that was a good shorting opportunity. The same thing here with the Canadian dollar. The Canadian dollar actually proved to be a pretty decent setup here. As you can see, the market pushed down below last week's low, rallied back up to last week's low where it used it as resistance, and then you can see that the market made new lows on the week here, pushing down into the low, the mid 9600s. And then on the flip side of the coin, you can see here that the euro has been able to break above last week's high and essentially using it for support. Once we broke out, using it as support, and the market has basically charged on ever since. We were able to get up to the 130 even level this week as of today, once the FOMC interest rate announcement came out, and it has been a wonderful week for upside potential here in the euro. Yeah, the pound dollar basically on the highs as well, breaking above last week's high, and then continuing higher in the direction of the order flow. So somebody tells you that breakouts don't work, then you know here that when the markets are in alignment, that's when the markets, the breakouts work their best. You can see here that the Australian dollar broke out above last week's high, came back to retest it, use it as support, and then pushed on to new highs here, pushing above the 105 even level. So looking forward into next week, we'll take a more in-depth look in the premium video, and also looking at the dollar index to see if it wants to continue to push lower. That should be the expectation at this point, at least considering over the last couple of weeks the market continues to push lower. So we don't want to step in front of this, but at the very least right now the dollar looks like it's at a key level of support, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth as we go. So we will see you at the next update. This is Witch Doctor signing off. Be careful with your trading out there. Stay safe, and we'll see you at the next market wrap. While I got you here, I wanted to take a quick moment to say that if you really liked what you're looking at here in the free Forex market wrap video, I wanted to give you the opportunity to come take a look at the premium weekly Forex market wrap video that I do every week. And basically it's a little bit more in depth, or should I say a lot more in depth information about the markets that I cover. And you can see here that in this short video I go over the basics about what I've been looking at on the major currencies. In the more in-depth market wrap video, I take a look at a in-depth analysis on the 6 major currency pairs. You also get actionable trading scenarios. The important thing here is that we're offering a 3-day risk-free trial, so you don't have to pay a cent. It's about a 30 to 45 minute video that'll go through all the major currency pairs that I look at, and it shows you a lot more in-depth analysis and forecast, looking at the longer term picture and the big major trends that are affecting what you're looking at on the lower time frames that you're looking at on a day-to-day basis. So take a moment to go take a look at the premium market wrap video. You can see the link here provided, www.traderstouch.com/3day, and it also includes a free membership to the Traders Learning Network, where you can meet other traders that are like-minded individuals, and they're basically there to help everybody looking at the same markets as you. So good luck, hope it helps, and look forward to seeing you on the inside.